Hello, Combabes. Welcome to episode 4. I'm here with Jake, my friend, who
Hello.
I have done very beautiful makeup on. Like that.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. As you can see, I've also put some makeup on, and in case you were wondering, this is actually my natural hair. It's curly, it's just drying, and I was very lazy today, so yeah, enjoy that, I guess.
Yeah.
Enjoy
the
it.
curls.
So while I do my friend's makeup, we are also going to talk about depression and collective joy. It's linked to the third video. In case you haven't seen it, watch it now. But it's linked to the third video, which is also about self-care and about collective care. So the two definitely go together, and you should watch them together. You should watch all of my videos, actually.
Correct.
All right, let's get started.
Dun, 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 dun.
So as you guys all know by now, my name is Clementine and I'm a Goldsmith student, and this is my friend Jake that I'll be making up today.
Hello. I'm also a Goldsmith student on the same course as Clementine, and I do research on depression and sort of the politics of emotion, if you want to put it like that.
Cool. All right, well, let's get started then.
Can't.
Yeah.
Giving you some fun things to splice in the middle. Kablam!
So I told Jake before to moisturize his face, so he's done that. And we're going to start off with a little bit of a primer, just so his pores are reduced.
Love to reduce those pores.
So Jake, you said that your research is on depression and anxiety and like emotions in general. So like, you know, I talked about in my third video how I was feeling depressed and how loads of people are feeling depressed. Is that something that you've also like come across in your own research?
Yeah, well, I mean, I also have had experiences with depression, and as you said, like, all the research points towards a growing trend of mental health problems. What was that?
A growing trend.
So, you know, there's more and more like medicines being given out for depression, more and more children being reported with mental health problems, especially like with trans people as well. They've got high rates of suicide and depression, so this is definitely a wide problem. There's also like a problem that goes beyond those statistics, like just in general, even people who wouldn't consider themselves like mentally ill, feeling just like a general like low level constant anxiety or depression, you know.
Low-key anxiety, bane of my life.
Yeah, so, you know, just from constantly having too much to do, or struggling to pay the rent, or just even to meet the cost of living. So that's sort of the problem, or at least what that's been reported.
Yeah, and like the way that people seem to talk about it is like, as I was saying before, like really individualized. It's really like, you know, I'm depressed, and it doesn't seem like they register that other people have that problem as well, or like this is something that's really, really widespread.
Yeah, so basically, as you said, like, we are prone to thinking about emotions as sort of expressing the inner truths of our deepest self, and obviously there is a chemical and body dimension to emotions, but I think it's important that we start thinking of them as social phenomena, because our emotions never just emerge out of anyway. Okay, so as I was saying, our emotions never really just emerge out of nowhere. We're always sort of angry about something, or something has made us upset, or even when we don't know what the cause is, we know there's a cause, like, oh, I'm in a weird mood today but I don't know why, or I just feel low today but I don't know why. We know this hasn't come out of nowhere. I'm not denying that there's like some sort of like that something's happening in our brains, but why is something happening in our brains? And that's ultimately because we're relating to something in the sort of world around us, in society, and that's the dimension that's often missed.
You know what, this chair is really annoying. I don't know why.
We can swap around if you want. Yeah, so basically in terms of emotions, we've got to start thinking about how we're feeling, as sort of how we're feeling our way through our social environment. So it's not really just like this feeling, we're not feeling ourselves per se, it's how we're feeling our way through. It's how we're feeling sort of the environment around us which has been shaped by, and here's that word, capitalism.
Look at you! Look at you!
I'm no longer depressed.
So I really want to do something new today with Jake because he's been so nice and like, you know, being a piggy. No, a guinea pig.
Let's stay with piggy.
Being a nice piggy. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in my hand. A few drops, that's it. And then I'm gonna put on, I don't have a cream highlighter, so I'm just gonna use a liquid highlighter just to dilute it a little bit because Jake had said he wanted something natural. And then I'm going to mix it up in my hands like so. And then I'm gonna apply it exactly like I would apply highlighter, but it's gonna be like a little bit more shimmery and like glowy, and it's gonna add a little bit more like sheen rather than direct, you know, very hardcore highlighter. Just a little bit of blush, and then we'll be done with foundation.
Let's move on to eyes and capitalism and why it makes you depressed.
That was my part. So yes, capitalism, the great evil.
Yeah, so capitalism, turns out, doesn't make you very happy. So we were talking about...
Close your eyes.
Okay, we were talking earlier about...
No, actually, do you know what? Just don't talk. Gotta get my secret stash. What are you doing?
Just getting a close-up of the damage. So, we were talking earlier about emotions being, rather than individual things, things that arise through social interaction. And obviously capitalism is a social system. So we can think about capitalism a way as organising people and things. And it's that sort of organisation that I'm talking about as a social system. So for example, when you're overworked and you're not getting paid enough and you're in an insecure contract at work and you don't know if you're going to be there for the next few months, or say when you're renting and you think you've got to move every year because obviously the rent could go up each year and your contract's only for a year. Mm-hmm. Those are things that are insecure, and in that sense it produces feelings of insecurity and anxiety amongst workers or renters.
So like us, basically.
Yes, especially young people who find themselves, they can't afford to buy a house, so they're renting or they're in low wage work, things like that. Another way capitalism doesn't just make us anxious, it makes us depressed. Because obviously capitalism wants you to think of yourself as an individual.
Aren't we individuals?
Well, obviously, like in a physical sense, we have separate bodies, but our bodies, our lives, our thoughts don't arise out of nowhere. They only arise through interaction with other people or other things or other experiences. It's convenient for capitalism to present like our problems as basically as they're our fault, basically. So like if we're depressed, we're not doing like, you know, we're not doing enough exercise, we're not doing enough therapy, and obviously these things can help, but like really they stem from a more fundamental problem that sort of capitalism is cutting ourselves off from other people and everything. And
yeah,
that's fundamentally what's making us depressed. It's about the way society is organised and where people work and how people work, or where people live and how people live.
How much they get paid, how
Yeah.
much time that they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
How they live, etc.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see the eyes? That's your cue. Jake.
Kablam!
So let's move on to lips, dark red, velvety lips, and how we can move on from this depression, I guess. Yeah, because we talk a lot about like this is a structural issue, and that means that like taking antidepressants or like working on yourself won't be enough to get over depression. And it kind of feels like when people say this, things get a little bit hopeless, like there's, you know, you feel like you're going to be just stuck in this forever because it's the system, and the system is out of your hands.
Yeah, so there's sort of two dimensions to sort of fighting this. One is to like all the usual stuff that sort of brings down capitalism, so anti-capitalist activism. So this could be like a strike at work, or an occupation at your university in protest at like courses being cut. But obviously the second part of this is not just bringing down capitalism, it's also making something new. Basically what a lot of people have spoken about is creating spaces of what's called collective joy. So obviously, as we've spoken about, capitalism presents joy as this sort of very individual phenomena. Buy this product, or you know, go to the gym, or you know, work on yourself basically, and you will feel joyous.
Joyous.
Joyous. Indeed.
Joyous.
Yeah. Truly. Joyous.
But really like true joy.
Yeah. So true joy emerges from sort of a sense of confidence, a sort of feeling that you can make a difference on the world, almost like being in harmony with everyone around you, being together. Almost feeling like in sync.
And then do like this. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like this feeling of almost like transcending yourself, going outside yourself and feeling with other people. And that's what collective joy is all about, like a rave or like a night out, or even like a good demonstration where you're chanting together.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is a sort of political dimension about this. And so throughout history there's been these like spaces of collective joy. And people have felt, and the government and like business have like actively tried to shut these spaces down, because these spaces can often be so powerful and so potent that people get so attached to them.
And they lead people to then like go on and fight politically.
That's an interesting political dimension of collective joy, because it's this real potent, powerful sense of happiness or joy that people almost fundamentally cannot get through capitalism, because it individualizes us and it makes us anxious.
Mm-hmm. So for people who like, you know, don't organize or don't know anything about politics in general and wouldn't know really where to start, like this sounds daunting, would you recommend any places that people go where they can like really get started? So before you answer, just I'm gonna set your face with the setting spray. You seem so ready for this.
Why
okay.
not? Spray me.
Close your eyes. I love doing this to people. Okay, one more.
Okay, so first thing people at home can do to sort of fight this depressing seed of anxiety and depression, these things called consciousness raising groups.
Consciousness raising!
Yeah, these originate from like the women's movement in the 1970s, where women would, basically about 8 or 10 women would get around and sort of speak about the problems they were facing as a woman. So this could be like their husband treating them wrong, or them feeling, I don't know, stressed from working and looking after the children. And they're actually like, these are all incredibly similar. And so it can't just be my husband, it can't just be my family that's causing these problems, it's actually something much more pervasive, much broader.
So basically you have these groups where people come in and talk about their depression and how they're feeling low and how they're feeling anxious, and then together they try to understand why it's societal and not personal?
Yes, absolutely. If you want a guideline on how to run your own conscious raising workshop, there's a guideline on their website, which I trust Clem will link in the description box below. So I've spoken to people from Pansy who've run these, and a lot of, especially young people, have come up to them and have been like, wow, that was really transformative. I thought it was just me.
Because it's like therapy, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like going to therapy, but loads of people are going to therapy at the same time.
Yeah, they'd say basically it was very therapeutic, but also empowering at the same time, and that's sort of the key difference, because you're feeling together with other people. It's not just I feel this way, it's we feel this way. The second thing would probably just be to go on like some exciting demonstration. For example, there's these climate strikes that are happening quite often now, especially with like young people.
Yeah.
School strikes.
Like 15, 16,
Yeah.
up to 20, 25.
I went on the last one and it was just so many energized young people. I felt incredibly
Unlike you.
old. Yeah, I felt so old.
All right, as you can see, this is the look.
I look fabulous.
And we really hope that you enjoyed this episode, that you enjoyed spending time with Jake and me. It was really, really fun to do. Jake and I are like quite close friends, so it's been really nice to just do this together. And let us know in the comment section what you think. You know, if you ever thought that like your depression was just not just something that only you lived, but that you should definitely share with the rest of the world in a sense. And if you want to like go to these consciousness raising groups, if you have any questions about them, we're here for you.
Absolutely. Don't forget to subscribe to Conbabe Clem. I'm a subscriber myself, and I'm also on the channel. So what other reason could you have? I mean, that's great.
And don't forget to click the bell.
Subscribe below, click the bell. There's going to be a bell coming up here. It means you get regular updates on when Conbabe Clem, aka Clem, updates her channel with new videos.
I should never have asked you to do this. Alright everyone, see you next week.